There's been a lot of chatter these days about the ISS, or International Space Station, what with all the world events and what they mean for the international collaboration just zipping around our planet up there. So, I thought I should remind everyone that NASA actually recently announced where the final resting place will be for the International Space Station when it dies, which is still probably around the year 2030. And the choice is obvious, if not ominous. The outskirts of Relay, the city of that horrible sea monster Cthulhu. Or, as modern scientists like to call the spot in the Pacific Ocean, Point Nemo. It is more than 1,600 miles from civilization in all directions, literally the furthest spot from any land on the planet. In fact, it is so far from land that the closest humans to Point Nemo at any given time are likely to be astronauts. It's true. The astronauts on the space station are only up there about 250 miles, which is a fraction of the distance to land from Nemo. So, it's a good spot to land all of your aging spacecraft, which is why countries all over the globe do that, so that they don't accidentally land on people when they come back to Earth. There's also very little marine life out there too, thanks to these enormous currents. It's kind of like a dead spot. The name Nemo is Latin, actually, for no one. But not everyone believes the spot is devoid of life. Oh no! Many smart people believe there are alien monsters down there. You see, in 1926, science fiction writer H.P. Lovecraft wrote the story The Call of Cthulhu, in which some sailors accidentally open a huge cavern portal, releasing the sea monster thing called Cthulhu at a very specific spot in the ocean. His story isn't the only one about monstrous aliens down there, but it is a quite famous one for one particular reason. You see, in 1997, while surveying the ocean floor off the coast of South America, some scientists were shocked by the sudden loud noise, which they now call the bloop. It was one of the loudest sounds ever recorded. Underwater microphones more than 3,000 miles apart captured the same exact noise at the same time. And it remained a mystery what caused it for like a decade, until they finally figured out it was caused by some ice breaking off of Antarctica. And guess what? The bloop, that huge underwater noise, was heard in a spot incredibly close to the exact spot of where Lovecraft said Cthulhu's portal was. That's right near Point Nemo, where we send all our spacecraft to die. And where other writers have written more alien stories too, because it obviously is a place where they might live. So in Lovecraft's story, the sailors end up blowing Cthulhu to bits. But of course, it immediately starts regenerating. Much like the ISS could grow another life down there too, perhaps, where sea monsters or aliens of another sort scrap it for parts to use to call home, or maybe even open more portals. It's just facts, people. Could happen. Not only do we send our spacecraft to die down at a spot where only alien life exists, but our science fiction writers have been warning us about the spot for ages. We still send our spacecraft here. And if you think science fiction is just a load of bunk, I suggest you read up on some Orwell. Toot sweet. And in the meantime, let's just hope the ISS doesn't help these aliens release evil upon the planet once again, much like those unsuspecting sailors did with Cthulhu.